Hello, this week for my video message I've come to this field of wheat which I found on one of my walks. It's beautiful. Just imagine how many people you could feed with all this wheat when it's made into bread from flour and into cakes and buns and scones and all sorts of other yummy things which we enjoy eating. We're very fortunate to live in a part of the country where we're surrounded by beautiful farmland and fields producing many crops which are becoming ready to be harvested. Here I am back home now. The abundance of the wheat in the field reminds me of God's abundance. There was a saying I heard some years ago that said, "There's enough food in the world for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed." It made me think of various stories in the Bible where God provided more than enough for the situation. When Jesus turned the water into wine at a wedding, and there was so much of it that there was more than enough of the best quality wine for the guests at the wedding banquet. Or when Jesus fed the 5,000 with a little boy's packed lunch of a few bread rolls and a couple of fish. Not only did everyone have their fill, but the crumbs that were picked filled 12 baskets. I'm sure you can think of other examples yourselves. During this pandemic, however, we've been faced with a crisis of food. First of all, at the beginning, people started panic buying items from the supermarkets, and we saw many empty shelves. They didn't need to buy more than they usually bought, but because they did, some people had to go without. Then we heard about how the town council had taken over the food parcel distribution from Crosspoint in Westbury, and how at the busiest time they were giving out up to 100 food parcels each week to needy families. You wouldn't think in this day and age that so many local families would need to turn to the food bank, but because of people losing their jobs and benefits not coming through quickly enough, they had to turn to the food bank to feed their families. And then we've had our own fasting too, haven't we? Many of us haven't been able to receive Holy Communion over all these weeks, and I know it's been difficult and painful for some people. We may not have been starving physically, but we may have felt spiritually bereft from not being able to gather and share together in the Lord's Supper. Fortunately, we are now starting to return to church services, albeit slowly and gradually, and able to receive communion again. The distribution of food parcels is currently in the process of moving back to Crosspoint. Crosspoint is a local charity set up some years ago, founded on Christian values to relieve poverty, distress and sickness in the town of Westbury and the surrounding area. Crosspoint has had to reorganise its operation in order to prepare for more demand for the future for their services. The forecast is that more people will be made redundant and social need will be on the increase. Crosspoint would be very pleased to receive donations of either food items directly to their premises in the marketplace, or to receive financial donations, or indeed the gift of time to help in different ways. Perhaps you could help in one of those ways yourself. I would like to give my full support to Crosspoint and hope that any of you might be able to join us in whatever way is right for you. When I think of Crosspoint, I'm reminded of the parable Jesus told of the king separating the sheep from the goats, and saying to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. We pray for the day when people will not need to turn to the food bank for support to feed their families. We want to pray for a just world where everyone has enough to eat, where the hungry are fed, the naked are clothed, the sick cared for, the stranger welcomed, and the prisoners visited. I'd like to finish with a beautiful hymn which captures this aspiration. Beauty for brokenness, hope for despair, Lord, in the suffering, this is our prayer. Bread for the children, justice, joy, peace, sunrise to sunset, your kingdom increase. God of the poor, friend of the weak, give us compassion, we pray. Melt our cold hearts, let tears fall like rain. Come change our love from a spark to a flame. May God bless you in the coming week.